guys, welcome back to R.M.Aviation. Just a reminder, we do have the art competition going ahead, and also we're going to continue on with our airline collapse series we're doing, and today we're going to be talking about Ansett Australia, which collapsed in 2001, and it marked a significant event in the Australian aviation industry, one that had a wide-reaching consequence for the economy, the airline sector, and thousands of employees and passengers were affected. A closer look at the factors that led to the airline's downfall reveals a complex mix of financial management and competitive pressures, poor strategic decisions, and external factors. So we're going to start today's episode. So the financial mismanagement and debt load. Ansett's financial troubles were rooted in years of mismanagement and unsustainable business practices. The airline was heavily in debt, which became increasingly difficult to service, especially after Air New Zealand took control of a controlling stake in 2000. The debt was exacerbated by Ansett's failure to modernise its fleet and maintain competitive efficiency. Despite attempts to restructure, the airline faced escalating costs related to the ageing fleet, leading to operational inefficiencies. The fleet was characterised by an older aircraft that were more expensive to maintain and less fuel efficient than the newer models used by competitors. This meant that Ansett's operating costs were disproportionately high and further exacerbating the financial situation. In addition, Ansett made poor strategic investments, including major expansion plan that was not well thought out, which only added to its already considerably financial strain. The airline's reliance on a business model that was focused on providing premium service also left it vulnerable during an era of changing customer expectations and increasing price sensitivity. 2. Competitive and changing market dynamics. In the late 1990s and early 2000s were a period of significant change in the Australian airline industry. Virgin Blue, a new low-cost carrier, entered the market in 2000 and quickly began to erode Ansett's customer base. Virgin Blue offering a lower fares, no-frills service with flexible ticketing, which resonated with a growing segment of Australian travellers who were looking for budget-friendly options. This marked the beginning of a shift in customer behaviour where pricing became a more important factor than traditional full-service offerings. Ansett's failure to adapt to the new competitive environment became evident in its business model, focused on premium services with full-service approach, was increasingly out of step with market trends. As Virgin Blue and other budget carriers captured significant market share of the market, Ansett's pricing strategy, which was based on legacy high operational costs, could not compete with the low-cost model that gained popularity. The Air New Zealand acquisition and management issues. In 2000, Air New Zealand acquired a 50.1% stake in Ansett with the intention of reviving the struggling airline. However, the acquisition did not bring stability and direction that Ansett needed. Instead, it led to confusion and conflict between the two companies regarding leadership and operational strategies. Air New Zealand's ownership, which while meant to stabilise Ansett, introduced new complications. The integration of two different organisational cultures proved problematic. Air New Zealand's strategy for Ansett was seen as inconsistent, and the airline's management struggled with infighting and the lack of clear strategic vision. Decisions were delayed or poorly executed, leading to inefficiencies. The leadership void created by these internal divisions further damaged Ansett's ability to respond to the evolving market conditions. The management conflicts reached a head when Air New Zealand sought further financial support in 2001 after Ansett's operations continued to bleed cash. Unfortunately, the decision came too late. Air New Zealand, already facing financial pressures of its own, was unable to provide the required resources to keep its investment afloat. External economic pressures. Several external factors played a role in Ansett's demise. One of the most significant of these was the broader global economic climate, particularly the effect of September 11, 2001 attacks and the terrorist attacks. The aviation industry was hit hard by the immediate aftermath, and many airlines worldwide experienced sharp decline in passenger numbers due to a combination of public fear and reduced travel demand. Additionally, the global economy was in a downturn, with the rising fuel prices further exacerbating the financial difficulties faced by airlines, including Ansett. Fuel was a significant operational cost, and airlines' inability to control the cost meant that it could not absorb these external pressures as effectively as its competitors. The The failure to restructure and adapt. Despite efforts to restructure, Ansett's leadership was slow to respond to the changing market conditions. The airline's financial position was already fragile by the time Air New Zealand became involved. The efforts to modernise its fleet and cut costs were insufficient. Even competitors like Virgin Blue quickly adapted to market demand. Ansett was bogged down by its legacy infrastructure and inability to adapt its business model quickly. In late 2001, after months of mounting losses without a clear path to recovery, Ansett ceased operations. Air New Zealand attempted to rescue the airline but ultimately proved unsuccessful. Ansett's collapse became one of the most significant failures in Australian corporate history. And the impact of Ansett's collapse. The closure of Ansett had a profound effect on the industry within the Australian economy. Thousands of employees lost their jobs. The Australian aviation sector was left with a significant gap in capacity, and passengers were left stranded. There was a sharp reduction in competition and domestic air travel. However, the vacuum left by Ansett's departure allowed for other airlines, particularly Virgin Blue, later Virgin Australia, to expand into its market share. In the long term, Ansett's collapse had a lasting impact on the Australian airline industry. The rise of budget carriers and shifted towards a more cost-effective, no-frills service model became more permanent features of the market, which influenced how airlines operate in Australia for years to come. In conclusion, Ansett's collapse was the result of a complex of internal mismanagement, poor strategic decisions, and the inability to adapt to the rapidly changing market. Airlines face financial struggles, compounded with the competitive rise of low-cost carriers and challenges of integrating with Air New Zealand, ultimately led to its downfall. While the airline's closure marked an end of an era in the Australian aviation industry, it also served as a cautionary tale to the companies about dangers of failing to innovate and adapt to the changing business environment. Thank you all again for tuning in for another episode of R.M.Aviation. I hope to see you all tomorrow. Like and subscribe if you like this comment, and please leave a comment if you're interested, because it's really interesting to see what people have to say about this kind of stuff. And a lot of people were affected in many different ways by the Ansett collapse. So if you'd like to leave a comment with either your experiences or whatever you have to say about it, like and subscribe, and we hope to see you all tomorrow for the next episode. Thank you.